Welcome back to Market on Close. GE Aerospace touched a record high today after a top and bottom line beat on its third quarter earnings report. The company also raised its full year guidance for the second straight quarter and expects 2025 adjusted EPS shares to between $6 and $6.20 a share. Shares have climbed more than 80% this year as the company continues to benefit from travel demand and aircraft production. To take a closer look at GE Aerospace and some of its activity and options activity, more specifically, Rick Ducat, our lead market technician here on Schwab Network, joining us for Options Corner today with GE Aerospace very much in focus. GE had this split into the three separate companies. I see you've got them sort of compared against each other here. Walk us through how they're performing.
Yeah, since March 28th, 2024, that's when GEV started trading here. You can see, it's kind of an interesting microcosm of the overall market. Energy, defense doing well, healthcare not doing so great. And when we look more specifically at some of its more peers in this defense sector, it's the standout stock once again here, up about 58% almost. And we had some other earnings for this sector this week. Raytheon doing well. Northrop Grumman, Lockheed Martin not doing so great today. And GE doesn't make weapons anymore, but they are still a big part of this defense sector for aircraft engines, propellers, components, etc. here. Raytheon said there's growing demand for munitions and missile defense. Northrop Grumman reduced its guidance because of delayed military payments from the government shutdown, but still they said they expect significant increase in defense spending well into the next decade. Great news for defense companies, maybe not great news for, humanity.
Yeah, less so for us, but the defense sector is well insulated and protected. As we look at GE on its own, standing over the last 18 months since it's been its own independent entity, what do the technicals show?
Pretty much a consistent channel here going along these lows. If you extrapolate it and duplicate it and put it across the highs, matches up pretty well, describing our price action between these two boundaries here. But with earnings today, a notable breakout from this level here near 305. That's about where we topped out repeatedly after forming an accompanying floor near 290. So 290 to 305, those were the points to watch here. But now today we've had a big push to the upside. Highs of 316.53, but actually down from the open here, even though we remain above the previous day's close. So a breakout that has somewhat fizzled so far, but is still hanging on above that old resistance level that now becomes supportive.
Yeah, and still trading up 1.25% right now on the heels of their earnings. But as we take a look at some of the volume activity in a name like this, especially on a day like earnings, where are we seeing the most action?
So when you have these range-bound periods, these can often be consolidation areas where there's heavy volume here. You can see that happened in this case here. So our volume node comes in near about 300 or so. So that 300 level stands out as a potential supportive area if we were to slip back within that range. We can also see that our trend line and our blue linear regression line and our yellow 21-day EMA all pretty close to each other, near about 295 to 298 or so. So once we start getting into the lighter volume areas, we have those technical factors to consider as well. Beyond that, though, 63-day EMA comes in near 284. RSI breaking out to the upside after hanging on above that 50 midline here. So even though price has fizzled a little bit here, we're above the old resistance still, and RSI is still showing some strength.
Yeah, still not in overbought territory, which I was surprised to see. As far as options activity goes on this name, higher than normal activity?
So our sizzle today, 3.7, so 3.7 times the 5-day moving average. That translates to about 74,000 options changing hands here, 53% calls. If we were to think about that November 21st expiration, we're factoring in about a 7.4% move based on the options market here. So that gives us boundaries of about 284 to 327 or so. Not really lining up with any specific technical points in this case, but that's about the general range here for this one. We can see, though, there was something interesting, I thought. There was a couple of outlier high open interest positions in the 270 and 300 puts in that November 21st series here, but they were open yesterday and already closed today, so it can be kind of misleading if you were to just glance at it.
All right, very interesting. Thank you for highlighting that options activity for us on GE Aerospace after their earnings. Moves to the upside, trading up more than 1% higher.